Not offended yet? Ready for something a little racier? Maybe more disgusting? Definitely a little more shit faced. We're the podcast your mama warned you about. Welcome to RDS Gaming After Dark. Hello, and welcome to a very special Turkey Day version of After Dark. Trust me, if you've been dealing with your family like we've been dealing with ours, you're gonna want to get drunk too. Wait, maybe that's just me. That's not family. That's real life. God damn it. All right, welcome to the latest excuse Racer has to get shit-faced. Welcome to Turkey Day After Dark. And I am joined by Black Sun, the man that gets to listen to all my bad decisions.
Oh, you're not the only one drinking tonight. I'm enjoying my fair share also.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. And the man, the myth, the turkey leg devourer, Zero.
Turkey.
No turkey leg is safe.
Goddamn right.
So how are we kicking this one off tonight, boys?
That's a good question. Racer, what are you thinking, buddy?
Oh, man. The control is back in my hands. I thought Jesus took the wheel. And, like, one of the good wheels, not, like, the bad wheels, where we crash and die in a fiery explosion. How are you going to start this out? Oh, God. This episode, like most of the others, brought to you by Admiral Nelson, the favorite rum of RDS Gaming. Come on, guys. Seriously. Respond to my emails. This is getting creepy. Like, seriously creepy. I might just drive down to your offices and wait outside until you meet with me.
So what you're saying is you're getting to the stalker-esque point?
There, actually, I can probably say with certainty that I have spent more money to be ignored by Admiral Nelson than literally anything else in my life.
Well, I guess there's an accomplishment? That's not something just anybody can say.
Yeah, that definitely takes some work.
Hey, I'm all about work, baby.
That's it. I tend to switch it up occasionally, so I can't quite go there. If nothing else, Racer is dedicated.
So, what are you drinking tonight?
Tonight actually is the Old Forester Bourbon 86. I've been bouncing between different bourbons lately, which I've been on a bourbon kick for quite a while now. It was the rum, and then it was the good old Irish whiskey, and well, it was bourbon and has been for a while, with the occasional Irish whiskey mixed in, mostly with Irish coffee being made. I mean, there's no better way to start your day off than some Irish coffee.
That's right.
I mean, how can you go wrong with coffee, Irish whiskey, and if you so choose, a little bit of, cream on top? I know the one was definitely wanting to know what I was using for it here a while back when I first started doing it. Did she ever end up picking up any Irish whiskey, Zero?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I was going to
But then
say, I
again,
would think you would notice a new liquor bottle in the household.
well, I mean, I have a bottle of Jameson, so
Yeah, it was well before the Jameson that was acquired, what, 2 months ago? 2.5?
yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it was like a couple months before that.
Couple
mean,
months. Ha!
that was one of the ones I suggested was Jameson's because that is a good Irish whiskey.
Yeah.
I mean, I opted for the Bushmills 10 for my Irish coffee because it's same price, slightly better, and just as cheap. Now I drink the Old Forester 86 that is just as cheap, more quantity, and yeah, it tastes really good. What about you, Zero?
I think Zero just answered all that.
Just sticking the Jameson?
I did drink a whole bunch of Crown Apple there about a week or so ago. It was pretty tasty.
Yeah, you could have that Crown.
It's not for everybody.
No, that one's not to my liking. How about you, Racer? Just Nelson all the way, huh? Got any more cherry
Um,
lately?
but yeah, well, cherry has been about it, and a lot of Bud Light.
Back to the Bud Light then.
Not necessarily back to it, but I don't like to go out and drink liquor because that's usually terrible.
Oh yeah, that could be a problem.
I don't remember recently you saying that Bud Light was doing the trick almost on itself for you.
Yeah, well, I have. It took me like a day to get back to the old levels, so I'm pretty good now.
Yeah, I understand that. I feel you there. There was a couple months that it was pretty few and far between, and it didn't take much to get back to normal. Where it took a decent amount again. And we got anything on the table tonight?
I mean, I got some fucked up shit.
That's good because I really don't.
My only fucked up shit was that after 3 months, it and a teacher like not getting an email and not showing up on time is what it took to get schedules straightened out, and it took a matter of like 2 to 3 hours, and everything was taken care of.
Now that's
With
got to be fucking frustrating.
yeah, after fighting it for 3 months and a teacher for 2 to 3 months, 2 to 3 months, and being being lazy, basically about his job. I mean, it was only let's put it this way: it was this past Saturday was my final quiz or exam for that class, and it took till at that point we have 4 projects, I'll call them actual coding things to do that are graded. Then we have 4 quizzes in the final for tests or exams. At this point last Saturday, There was one quiz graded, which is automatically graded by the system because it's done through a website. And it took till Tuesday. Tuesday, woke up and transferred the rest of the quiz results over, and then quickly graded the 4 assignments and submitted the grade. Which, if you're listening to the podcast, you heard that on Monday because of said situations of teachers showing up late. I got things straightened out and my schedule actually fixed. If that would not have happened and the teacher not have been there on time, which he did have a valid excuse for not being there, other than he didn't take his phone with him when he went out of state to visit his mother. Granted, she was in the hospital, so was reason, and he just took off. But yeah, I would have been 2 days behind before I would have got notified of new schedule and been on the right track. That would have been great. Which the one of the 2 classes wouldn't have been so bad since it was like the teacher was like, well, I don't want to go over this stuff and then have you come back 1 week later after the break and give you a quiz when you first walk in the door and you not remember anything. So it was a somewhat shorter night. Introductions, a bunch of stories and jokes, and a little bit of what we're going to be doing. So it only went to 9 instead of 1 a.m. But yeah, you gotta love the lazy people doing their job, not taking care of stuff as it comes in. I guess you could say.
Yeah.
I mean, he likes his barley pops and his liquor and whatnot, which I can. I mean, I understand that. I think we all can. But I don't think any of us fully let it get into the way of doing our jobs that we have to do.
Woohoo! Functional alcoholic checking in.
Exactly. He needs to work on that.
Are you saying that's something that should go on his to-do list?
I think so. He
I,
just said that.
I only charge $100,000 a semester, but I can teach people. 4-year minimum up front. Can't, no financing.
He has to, any loans needed, he has to get on his own and then pass along to you.
Yes, that would be about appropriate.
Yeah, that works. I mean, I don't know. There may be, well, it wouldn't be too bad. I mean, you're gonna butt heads occasionally, but that's just the normal Irish against Irish going on. So, I mean, it'd be all good.
So what do you got, Racer?
People terrified enough not to look me in the eye.
Damn.
You haven't, yeah, no, haven't caused that yet here. Did you really pull something to cause it?
I may have managed to pull up next to them and start screaming at them.
Oh shit.
Was this for a valid reason, though? I'm guessing so.
Racer doesn't normally just scream at people for no reason.
Exactly.
One second.
Only one needed, huh? It's gonna be a quickie.
Yeah. Super quickie.
Yeah, basically, my tolerance level for stupidity ended.
What
And
about through the
I
streets?
kind of came across as fucking people not being able to use a simple thing that's been part of cars for a very long time, unable to use their goddamn turn signal.
Oh yeah.
And like 10 fucking times I saw people do this, and finally I lost it. And this dude in his little mini SUV that's not capable of actually hauling anything or going off road makes a turn with no goddamn turn signal, cuts me off to do it. So once we got onto a 2 lane and I could get up, I fucking punched it, get up next to him, roll down my passenger side window in 30 some degree weather, and start motioning at him. And he looks over at me, looks down, and starts to try and speed up in his shitbox. So I match him mile per mile, and then just start screaming at him, "Motherfucker, do you not know how to use a turn signal? Because you shouldn't have a fucking license if you don't know how to use it. That's what they're for, to indicate where you're going. Don't fucking cut me off and not use your goddamn turn signal."
Yeah.
That
I
is just
fully understand that.
spectacular.
Yeah, he cut off and ran into a parking lot shortly thereafter. Did use his turn signal though.
Well, there's a plus. Maybe he learned something.
No, I'm gonna say not. I'm guessing he was just fearing for his life.
Just terrified, yes.
Unfortunately, though, I fully understand what he's talking about because that is what is extremely common where I am currently at. 90% no turn signal whatsoever all the time. It gets to the point where you are very appreciative of the 10% that do use it.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's how bad it is here. And that's actually kind of being a little generous.
Man. That's like, Racer, you know how I go to work. And you know there's a real sharp 90 where the road follows where you can go off in a different direction. It never fails. In the mornings, I always seem to hit my fucking turn signal. And I don't need to. Like, I always use my fucking signal because I know the fucking one moment when I don't, somebody's gonna fucking hit me. That's just seems to be how it is.
Look, I have it programmed in. If I'm making a 90-degree turn, I want to turn on my turn signal. I have gone around some sharp ass corners, even at a high rate of speed, and turned on my goddamn turn signal because it was a fucking 90-degree plus turn.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's say before I moved here. I mean, I take some back ways to places, whether it's in a vehicle or on the bike or whatever. But I come up and it's just there's like a gravel or an off road that just a side road that goes a different way, but the main road goes say curves 90 degrees one way or the other, or even 45 or 60 degrees one way or the other, and just out of instinct automatically use turn signals, and afterwards I'm like, all right, and turn it off if it's not the full 90 and doesn't click off. It's just instinct. I mean, that's what you do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
second nature.
These are not complicated things to understand. Motherfuckers, if you're on the road, learn to goddamn drive.
Yeah, unfortunately that is not a prerequisite to get your license anymore.
Yeah. Well, it's a bad habit that's learned more than likely when you start driving and nobody corrects it.
Well, I mean, look at the accident I was recently in. The person sitting in the other lane stopped as I was going by, they turned right into me without. Well, I mean, that's just basically not checking the mirrors, but there's no turn signal either.
Yeah.
It's just dumb, stupid shit like that. It's not required to drive anymore. You, I
Like
mean, I don't even know if you have to parallel park anymore.
I remember when I was learning to drive, like the state required you to have 50 hours behind the wheel, 40 daytime hours, 10 nighttime hours. And I know my mom did most of that driving with me. And like it was always those little things. She didn't harp on me about it, but she would tell me, this is why it's important that you need to do this. This is a safety issue, or this is a common courtesy issue, or this is whatever. Like, she didn't harp on me, but she wanted me to develop good driving habits, which is what everybody should do, but I'm guessing tons of people don't.
She explained to you the reason behind why to do it and why it was good practice, and well, it made everything safer.
Yeah.
Well, I will take it again. I take it as a sense of pride, but there's a reason. My life is like goddamn beginning of a racing or driver game or something else. Personally, professionally, people that have made it evident they don't even care for me, every other sense of the word. When it comes down to it, typically I get handed the keys, personally and professionally. Because when shit needs done, I get it fucking done. I can drive. I can drive like a motherfucker. Not from the point of birth on. I wasn't blessed with these amazing instincts or skills or anything else, but because I've fucking learned and I've practiced and everything else. The basics, motherfuckers. Get the goddamn basics down. Learn. We have like 5 goddamn podcasts for After Dark that talk about dumb motherfucking drivers. That is an unhealthy amount. Unhealthy amount. I do not live in a major metropolitan city. I should not have these many complaints. Y'all need to learn to drive. God damn it.
Mm-hmm. Well, they work as I do, but it just amplifies. And say that also, I guess, is proof to the point where, say, when we do go to our yearly festival, when I'm able to attend, or the last one, anyways, that I drove there, you were you were able to let loose and have your fun, and yeah, you just rolled with me. I mean, everybody followed me, and we just all had a good time, and go with someone that has the common sense and just has the basics or a little bit of common sense to it. It's not hard, but you got to be smart enough to look out for the idiot.
Well, that's it. And you should take that as a point of pride because I don't ride with many people.
Oh, and I did, and I knew this as it happened or beforehand. I'm like, all right. I mean, that says something, and good. It didn't go lightly or unnoticed, consciously or subconsciously. And that's the thing. When I got to the point, say, did driver's ed or whatever through high school, I drove like twice throughout the whole driver's ed course, and the teacher's like, "Yeah, you've been driving before, right? And you know what you're doing." I'm like, "Yeah." I might have learned to drive like 6 years before this and kind of know what I'm doing. So yeah, they're like, "Yeah, no, you don't need to. We're gonna let all these other people that this is their first time. We're gonna let them just kind of take the wheel and I'll instruct them." Which I'm say, Racer, I'm sure you were the same way, and you can attest to. Didn't have to do much in that sense.
Well, yeah, I've been driving since I was like 12, fucking between farm equipment, farm trucks, shit around here where you never see a cop. I've driven for years before I got a license. That was it. You just did that because you had to do it. And then there were very specific rules in place growing up for what you had to be able to do to even begin to think about getting your license, not by the state, but by my family, which works. I get it. That's the way things are. It helped improve. Yeah, I did some dumb shit because I was a kid. Every kid does some dumb shit, but I'll throw it out there. I'll teach a kid to drive. I'm not saying they're not going to be scarred after the fact, and they may show up from their driver's test with tires smoking, but still.
They will outdrive any other person there. And say it's the same thing. I mean, I was say right around 12. Say it was like 12. Same thing. I was running around driving, doing this or that, whatever needed to be done. Say the old farm truck or whatever, and I was doing it. It's like, yeah, but you had things and you learned. You made little mistakes, nothing that caused you damage, but you learned stuff early, and you had that sense about you. Anymore, I mean, people wait till they get their permit or even just before they're able to get their real license. And then they take them out and it's like, all right, let's do this. And they expect them to know it and pick it up like that. I'm like, no, no, no. I mean, start a little bit beforehand, go out on the back gravel road or whatever. If you live in the city, just go outside of fucking town, go to back road and start before even they need to start to that point. Before a permit and all that, just start early and start, teaching them as they're getting close and you're driving. Point out those reasons. I remember, say, my mom telling me about one time, say, with a sister, she was, is during permit and they were out driving and sister turned on turn signal and then changed lanes without checking, looking and checking for blind spot. And it was, someone was right behind and close, didn't hit them, and then proceeded to tell them, it's like, hold on, you can't do that, and was kind of stern and forceful and kind of brought sister to tears, which I can understand. She is very soft hearted and took it kind of hard, but the lesson was learned and it never happened again. Always checks blind spots and looks before changing lanes now and turning.
Oh yeah.
Look, and part of that was I wasn't even allowed to go take my driver's test until I could stop a manual transmission car on a gravel hill and take off without spinning the wheels. Like there was no easy mode qualification for my shit.
Oh yeah, I understand it. That's what the first thing I ever drove or learned on for full size vehicle was manual. I mean, I had motorcycles and whatnot. Started with three wheelers, motorcycles, and then went to mid '60s full size Chevy pickup, which was manual. That's first full vehicle. And that, I mean, granted, starting off that wasn't too bad because it did have the grinding gear, the stump pulling gear. So I mean, it was easy. But by the time before long, it's like, no, screw that, and you just start right in second gear, and you learn to, you know, slip the clutch or ride the clutch out and start in second because you don't need first.
See, and my experience was way different. Like, I learned on most of my driving was done on vehicles that were automatics. And then when my sister got her license, she would take the one car, which left me with the car that was a manual. And my mom basically just told me, all right, buddy, here's what you do. And then she just let me go. I kind of got to figure it out on my own. And for a little while, it was rough. But after that, like I realized, okay, this isn't so bad, and I didn't mind driving this. For a long time, I drove a standard. Like I had two trucks that were both standard that I'd love to drive those trucks.
Oh, I feel there. For the most part, I would prefer standard between lasting longer, being more reliable for the most part, and everything does happen. I mean, you replace clutch and it's cheaper. That's all you have to replace for the most part. And it's just, yeah, I enjoy that more. Other than like right now where I'm at currently, it would work, but it would be a pain in the ass. It would be a nuisance to a degree.
Oh,
I'm
because
gonna
it's a lot of stop and start.
I'm gonna let all of our audience know right now. Yes, it is completely different now. You'll have to excuse those of us that are still stuck in the 90s. It is completely different. I get it. Automatics are both faster and more reliable than manuals now. Go away. We don't care.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, but yes, you are correct. Zero. Just yeah, with all the most time it wouldn't be too bad, but at times yes, it would just be a nuisance because of the traffic
Yeah.
and the amount of it and whatnot. And I did good. Well, I'd say I did good this week on Tuesday because it was the 1 o'clock. So the traffic actually I made it through better than I expected. I expected a lot more lunch hour traffic on the way to camp. There was only minor delays, not as much as I expected.
Well, I have to go back to the last time I was in the closest major city to where we live.
Mm. Up north.
Yeah, and some pretty serious traffic, and it took me all of about 45 seconds to finally go, all right, ain't nobody got time for this shit, and find a hole and punch it and get out of there. So, in certain circumstances, it's not that bad, but again, it falls back to the same shit. Immediately after cutting through traffic and getting to clear highway, all I heard was, well, I'm glad you're the one driving.
Yeah, I could see that.
Oh, yeah.
Unfortunately, for me, between my place and campus, it's all in town, 3 lane, and you might be able to get a little bit here and there, but you get one little gap, and you gain a little bit, and then you're dealing with the same shit again, and it's like, motherfucker. You get the
Oh,
little reprieve, and it's just like, no, dumbass. It's more of
I don't know about all that. They make enough room to get a car by on the sides.
you'd have to go on. Yeah, you'd have to use the bike lane plus curb
Well, you
for
ain't
that.
sitting close to the ground. You can hit the curb.
Yeah.
True. I've done that to turn lanes before. I'm not gonna lie. Two spots away from being able to make the turn lane for the turn I'm looking for, and people aren't pulling up like they should be. Yeah, I've done that. I went up on the little median, which is only like 4 inches, and went up there to it.
So what you're saying is the next time you come north for the festival that I should just bring the Rex.
Whatever. That works.
Fuck it. We're going round.
Man.
Uh,
Go ahead, Blackson.
I say it's gonna happen one way or another. We'll get there.
When I used to work on the road, a ton of traveling, like I hated when we would work in larger metropolitan areas. And it's not because I didn't driving in the traffic bothers me. Like I never like it's not one of those things of oh I'm scared to do it. What it really boils down to is there's just that much more people around that aren't paying attention to what the fuck they're doing.
Oh yeah.
that's what bothers me, really. When I was learning to drive, one of the first things that my mom told me, she told me, she said, you need to understand something. Every time you get behind the wheel, your actions take other people's lives into your hands. And their actions are going to take your life into their hands. You can't trust them to make good decisions, but you can trust yourself to make good decisions. So that's one of those things that I've, like, even today, I still think about it all the time. Just, you know, be smart. Don't trust the other people, but trust yourself to make good decisions. I think about it all the fucking time.
Oh yeah, and as Racer can definitely attest to, on being on a motorcycle and riding, say, through traffic on a motorcycle, you are a extremely defensive driver or rider. I
And
mean,
that's it.
I'm
That's the whole point. Every driver, if you're going to be on the fucking road, everybody should be forced to take the MSF course because it will make you a better fucking driver.
The motorcycle safety course.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, you have no protection. I mean, I'm a defensive driver to begin with in the vehicle, but once I got a motorcycle that I wanted or whatever, and started doing that, I mean, it became even more so. It amplified it beyond normal. I mean, you cannot, if you're on two wheels, you cannot trust anyone else. That shit. I'm not putting my life in anyone else's hands. I'm watching for every other motherfucking person.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there's one time I was on a motorcycle and I was on lunch break. I went home for lunch just to get a break and whatnot. Granted, it was only a half an hour lunch break, but I lived, 10 minutes away tops. I went on there. It started sprinkling. Well, when it first starts to rain or sprinkle, all that oil lifts up on the asphalt and it becomes slick. Well, I was coming up to a stoplight. I don't know, I'm going to say maybe 50 feet from the line for before the crosswalk. And there was a semi in the turn lane for a grain mill fertilizer place that was in town sitting in the turn lane. Well, they thought I was going to stop and proceeded to turn on the yellow when they were already stopped. I had to get on the binders, the brakes hard, and yeah, we were doing a little fishtail. I was working the back brake while I was hard on the front, keeping it from sliding. I stopped in the middle of the crosswalk, and the whole time when that semi was turning, that old motherfucker that was driving that was looking me right in the face as he was turning. And yeah, if I was not paying attention, it would not have been a good deal. Needless to say, I knew the person that owned that place, and I called and talked to that person's wife, is who answered when I called after I got one block further to my place. They definitely had a talking to afterward.
I remember Racer had some fucking horror stories when he was on his bike.
Oh, yes. And that is why the one thing that still stands out to me, because I aced, well, both on the MSF course, I got 100% on the classroom, 100% on the practical. Smith driver training, I got 100% on the classroom and 100% on the practical. The one thing they do not teach you the same, which drives me up the wall, is this nationally accepted insurance saving fucking training program, Smith driver training, encourages people to use eye contact as a guarantee that you've been noticed. And that is 100% bullshit. And that's one of the things they drill home in the MSF is just because somebody looks at you, just because you make eye contact, even lock eyes with the driver getting ready to pull off a side street or out of a parking lot, does not fucking mean they see you.
Or does it care? I mean, say that my experience that I explained there perfectly explains it. He seen me, he recognized me, he noticed me. Doesn't mean he fucking cares and isn't going to turn. He's watching to make sure that he wasn't going to run over me if I didn't make the stop. Since I was so close to the light when it turned yellow, you cannot fucking count on that shit.
Yeah.
And say that's where I go back. I mean, they have the T-shirts and all this and that where they all say loud pipes save lives. I will stand behind that because that has saved my ass a couple times at least. I mean, when I first got the bike that I have currently, it had said pipes with baffles and whatnot, and I went longer and bigger, and I went with no baffles. And there's been 2 times for sure that I can recount where someone was getting ready to pull out in front of me from a side street. Granted, I was going at a slow speed, 30 miles an hour or less, where no matter what, I would have been able to make the stop and avoid it. I would say they were getting ready to start to move, or I seen them start to creep. I pulled in the clutch and I cracked it a couple times, and they're like, "Oh shit! Oh, there's someone coming on a motorcycle," and then they stop. People do not see you. You have to be very observant and defensive. Eye contact means shit beyond that.
Yeah.
And Black Sun and I do not agree on the loud pipes things. I don't agree with that at all, and mostly because I've been in enough modern cars with sound deadening that that level of volume doesn't do anything at all. Or if it gets to the point where it is, it's just annoying. That's not. Don't make that your basis. Don't buy a loud bike over any other. The key point, what you should take away is be defensive, be observant, always have an escape avenue. That will save your life, guaranteed. That's basically what it comes down to. Because as we've pointed out time and again, it's every other idiot on the road you got to worry about.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I fully agree. I mean, and I'm not talking loud pipes to where it's annoying and whatnot. There's a reason, to it. I mean, you can go to a degree where it sounds good. You go too much, and it's just, I mean, it's annoying as hell, and it's too much. And when that did happen to me, I mean, it was summer, and it wasn't overly hot, and the person did have their windows down. They weren't, it wasn't the point where, like Racer was saying, the windows were up and the sound deadening. They did have their windows down, and that did help in those circumstances. Dude, I get to the point where myself too. I mean, there's a point where you go, even with vehicles, not just bikes. There's a point to where they can sound good, and there's a good note to them, and they got that right tone. And there's a point where you go above and beyond, and where it's just annoying and it pisses you off to a degree.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, that's it. I'm sure. Say you agree on that point, Race. You love that sweet tone to a degree.
Well, I have had many different experiences with different volumes of car and bike. Still, some of the funnier ones I've had are when the hardcore leather chap wearing faggots with their ear blistering with fucking a full face helmet, earbuds in, everything else, have been sitting next to me at a stoplight, revving the shit out of it because God knows you shouldn't buy a tuner when you put an open exhaust on your bike and make it run right. but if you don't fucking rev the shit out of it, then it's gonna die. But to see them sit next to me on a stock bike, 100% fucking stock motorcycle, when they're sitting there and spitting and fucking jerking around and revving the shit out of their bike and laughing at me, and then I leave them sitting in the fucking dust, and I'm like, yeah, my bike's whisper quiet. What up? Let's fucking do this. Good job. It's the same thing I fucking do in my car when I'm next to all these jackasses and their obscenely jacked up truck that's spewing fucking black soot out of their turbo diesels that don't fucking tune them and think rolling coal is cool, even though they're not getting any kind of performance benefit or anything else. And they're fucking laying a cloud. And they're like, I'm going to get this little sports car. And again, I drive an American car. It's literally an icon through the history of muscle cars. And they still want to be a giant dick about it. And I'm like, all right, let's do this. I know at 3,500 RPM with the tires and suspension setup I've got, I'm going to hook up on takeoff and be doing 50 miles an hour by the time you manage to move off the line. So I'll fucking leave them sitting and then get in front of them and be like, oh, did you not coat me in soot? Sucks to be a bitch.
Yeah, very true. And yeah, my brother is unfortunately one of those people, and has the diesel or whatever, and has to do it, and doesn't, they do all that, remove the muffler, this and that, or does the stack through the box, which all right, whatever. Yeah, but so it's to the ground, and it's better emissions and this and that or whatever, because it's not bad, whatever. But doesn't tune it for what they've done. And they actually they'll tune it and they'll dump more fuel to it and make it worse. And like you said, just full. It's like, no. Understand what you're working with and what you're doing in the ideal way to do it.
And I mean, it's gone through a bunch of different variations. We've seen it in diesels, other trucks, gas-fired engines, everything else, where guys would either tune their carb or get a tuner and run super rich and would put a fucking spark plug in their exhaust to shoot flames.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that, or even some of the newer ones, or the more current ones, I guess I've seen on the diesel side of it anyways. They'll do that, and then they'll get a side pump or whatever to pump gasoline just to do that, and they'll use the spark plug and just pump gasoline to shoot flames out the stack and not use the extra diesel because it's cool.
Man, that just seems real fucking dumb to me.
But it's cool, Zero. It looks awesome.
Well, that's okay. I got a story for you. You guys are talking about these trucks. So a week or so ago, I was on my way home from work, and it was fairly late. It was dark, and I had a fucking truck behind my car almost all the way from work. One of those fucking big jacked up trucks, and I have to go through one town to get to where I live, and there's a four lane through the town, and as we get up onto this 4 lane, this truck rolls up beside me, and there's 3 or 4 young kids in there, younger kids, probably high school age, juniors or seniors. And like, they're signaling me that they want to race. And I'm just thinking, okay, I understand that my tiny little Honda Civic has one of those fucking shitty, loud ass fucking mufflers on it. Which, no, I did not put that motherfucker on there. But I don't want to race. I just want to go home. And as soon as they realized that I wasn't going to race, they just fucking hammer down on this fucking truck and fucking, blow coal. And I'm just like, why? Why? I don't fucking get it.
Because they're cool.
I guess. I mean, like I said, they look like they were about high school age kids, maybe just a hair bit older. It was just like, I'm driving an old beat down Honda. Like this, I don't want to say it's not a nice car. Because you know what? It runs, it gets good gas mileage, and it gets me back and forth to the places that I need to go. I couldn't be
Good
happier.
reliable car.
Yeah, I couldn't be happier. Like, shit, I'm just happy that it has windows that roll down, it has a radio that works, the lights are on it.
That first one only recently, by the way.
Yes.
That-
Racer was kind enough to help me. Well, no, let me rephrase that. Racer was kind enough to work on my car. Because a couple of things he did, there's definitely no way I'd have been able to accomplish. No way.
Yeah, Rachel Beaver now. I was waiting for.
Yeah, no.
He's such a sweet boy.
Who, Racer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a
Sorry,
bittersweet person.
I got a couple of Houstonians that want to take me to a rodeo now because I'm such a sweet boy.
Yeah, what?
Does your old boss want you to come visit?
No, this is two random people I met in a local bar.
Oh, nice.
We were talking about being in town, and I thought they were here to, like, pick up their kid or something. And they were going on and asking questions about the town and going over a bunch of other stuff, and they were getting ready to leave, and the husband of the couple bought a mug from the bar we were in. And I knew the bartender, and because that always sounds great. I know all the bartenders. We'll just put it that way. And I was like, hey, come here. So she came over, and I was like, yeah, they're covered. I mean, they're not paying. So I gave her money, and she paid. And she, unlike every other fucking bartender there, never asks me. Most of the bartenders, whenever I do shit like this, are like, well, you want them to know or what? I always say no, and she doesn't even ask me. She just goes over and she's like, hey, he paid for your stuff.
Nice.
And the husband's like, we didn't just buy drinks. You know that, right? And I was like, it doesn't matter. I just hope you guys have a good trip up here. You enjoy yourselves. You get home safely. So we're kind of talking across the fucking bar. And they're like, well, you from here? And I was like, yeah. They're like, well, where do you work? And I told him, and the lady's like, oh my God, I work in industry doing this. And I was like, well, no offense, but I hope we never run into each other professionally, because it's kind of a, oh shit, things went very bad if you call her particular aspect of the industry. And she's like, no, I agree. And then her and her husband talked for like 2 minutes, and she walks over. They're both in the industry. Gives me their cards, and then she writes all their contact info on the back. And she's like, well, you said you were going to be down there in January. Get a hold of us. We'd love to take you out.
Well, that's fucking cool.
And she's like, oh, you should come back in March. There's a huge rodeo. We'll take you. It'll be great.
Yeah, that's definitely your style.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely right up Racer's alley.
I'm not surprised that it happened, but yeah, the rodeo, it's definitely what you're all about.
Now, all sarcasm aside, I mean, it could be fun. You never know. I mean, I don't know if you've ever been to a rodeo before, Racer, but I mean,
I have. One of my nieces drugged me to one many years ago.
Ah,
I'd say I actually, yeah, I've been to a couple or a few in my definitely younger days. And I remember doing the whole, when I was extremely a lot younger than I am now, doing the whole catch a chicken deal at the fair deal and all that when you're little. You go out, catch chicken, take it home, and doing the whole sheep deal where you do the rodeo sheep when you're little.
yeah.
Gay.
My mom wanted me to be a cowboy.
I have been to a rodeo at the fair where my parents live, and to be truthful, the only reason I went was because I knew a couple of the kids that were competing in it. I mean, it wasn't terrible. It's not really my thing, but it's one of those things. You know, the festival that we go to, the one for several years. You know, oh, you know, I don't want to go. It's not my thing. It's not my thing. It's not my thing. You know, having never went, and then she did go the one year and realized it was a tremendous fucking blast. And you know, it's one of those things. Sometimes try new things because you don't think they're going to be something that you would enjoy or something that's cool, and end up being something that's like, oh, this is amazing.
I never got to the point where it was amazing. At least other than when I was chasing the chickens around and riding the sheep when I was extremely young. Compared to now, I was, yeah, probably early teens, somewhere in there on the last one. Went to, and that was actually out in Montana
Yeah.
when, say, grandparents actually had a cabin out in the foothills of one of in the mountain range out there or whatever. But yeah, we went to one of them, and that was probably the last time I'd been to a rodeo. It was interesting, but I was not into it. It's like, all right, that's cool. He can hold on. Yeah, all right, cool. My one of my cousins to get into it though. That's close to my age and was actually riding bulls and whatnot. And yeah, they liked it and good for them. They stopped after ended up with a broken arm afterward,
Cool.
and that was in an amateur.
That would suck.
Yes, but what do you expect when you're on the back of a 2,000 pound animal that's trying to get you the fuck off of the back of it?
Oh yeah.
It's not going to be nice, and it gives no shit.
Oh fuck no.
You're lucky it just did that and did not turn around and trample your ass and break ribs and whatever else in the process.
Yeah.
That's just my take on it. I'm not going to try and piss off a 2,000 pound animal by riding on it and having its balls or whatever that it does tied up until you jump off of it or get kicked off of it.
Yeah, that doesn't seem like a whole bunch of fun.
I mean,
I
would you
mean,
be nice to someone that had your balls tied up by a rope or a dick or whatever it is and trying to ride on your back while that was being done?
depends
Would
on
you
how
be
much I
nice up?
paid her.
I knew that was coming.
That means that you enjoy that kind of thing. From what I've seen and
I didn't say
experienced,
that. I just said it depends on how much I paid her.
I'm insinuating that you pay for that to enjoy it.
Oh, I know what you're insinuating, but if I'm paying money, I'm not getting no vanilla shit. We're gonna try some weird shit.
Oh,
I got,
there's many other better weird ways I think you could go with that.
yeah, but I want to be ashamed when I see my bank statement.
Well, there you go then. That would probably accomplish that feat.
What was this for? Physical therapy?
Just a little PT.
Wow, yeah. Well, that ground that to a halt. Damn.
Now we know where Racer spends his money.
Oh, God, yeah. We'll get into a listing of that eventually, trust me. Which
Uh,
is obviously just as dark as the shit I just said, because still nobody wants to touch it. Yeah!
What's
No.
it say? So what else did you get into?
Dumb
Anything
shit.
else? No, so nothing as interesting as that, you're saying?
Not nearly as interesting, at least not to me.
What about to the lovely audience?
Oh, I'm sure they'd be interested. I'd probably have another 100 fuckers with their hands out.
May not want to go there yet.
Yeah, no, fuck everybody else.
At least wait till the studio kicks off.
To go the opposite quote of Dr. Phil, it is all about me.
Does he say
What up?
that a lot?
No, there's really only one where he screams, "It ain't about you." And that may have actually been an SNL or Mad TV skit. I'm not sure, but whatever. I still quote it. Fuck everybody else. Dr. Phil's a fake doctor.
SNL, I believe. And actually, speaking of that, something I was skimming across and seeing earlier. You both know who Robert Vine is?
Who?
No.
Okay, never mind.
What was the name? I heard Robert. I didn't get the last name.
Irvine. Married to a WWE diva. Does
Yeah,
some restaurant impossible or something similar to that?
yeah, he's a British chef.
Yes, exactly. He has a show similar to that, along the lines a mix between Dr. Phil and Jerry Springer now.
Nice.
Yeah, I happened across that earlier on the interwebs and was like, okay.
So he's a hold on. You said he's a chef, correct?
He did
Yes,
say that.
originally. That is his main thing that brought him to fame, yes.
And he started a show that's basically a mix between Dr. Phil and Jerry Springer.
Yes. Well, before that, he had a show that was, I mean, this is close, may not be exact, Restaurant Impossible, I believe. That's very close. He basically went in and people, I haven't seen it for years or so, but people that were doing dumb shit business wise in their restaurants, he would go in, remodel them, and tell the people what they were doing wrong. And it's like, you think this is good, but really you are blinded by what you think and not what everyone else thinks. You need to change your shit up and do this between recipes and flavors and whatever else, and the whole layout and decor restaurants. Go in, tear the shit down, rebuild it, and they go on and either succeed or not follow his suggestions and fail. Well, apparently now he has his own where he does a mix between that and Jerry Springer.
Awesome.
Yeah, I caught the last end of a little bit on the interwebs, and it was, yeah, I don't know how I got onto it, but it went there, and The guy had a roommate that was his best friend, and he was basically a mooch. But the dude was gonna pay him back for the rent and whatnot and utilities, and was gonna start catching up and helping out, and not live. I mean, the dude lived off. I mean, he loved his grilled cheese apparently, and was no longer gonna be using his bread and cheese because his. Oh, by the way, they're both white. The dude that was renting the apartment and giving the other one money for everything else was a white dude that had a nice job, girlfriend, and a nice long ponytail. The other dude was what you would say a white, preppy looking person, male, was mooching off of him. But he was about to drop his rap album, so he was going to pay him back like as soon as it dropped because that shit was hot. So yeah, it was Jerry Springer esque kind of show.
That just seems all kinds of fucking weird.
Yeah, it does. And I was surprised to see Robert Irvine hosting. On the bright side, Robert Irvine called him out on his bullshit and said, "You're fucking stupid. You're asking to kick his ass out and be done with that shit. Because as you said, when your girlfriend comes over and you're fucking doing it, he's at the door listening to you, and that's just fucking wrong." That's the gist of the 3 to 4 minutes that I watched it.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, dude that owned the apartment, that's, well, in our opinion, most likely anyways, common sense.
Your common sense. But anyways,
Is that it?
I think so. I think we have stretched the range as far as she will go.
All right. Well, I'll pin the rest of this up till the next one and see if I can make it.
You can always record it and send it to me. I'll just cut it in.
If it gets to that point, I will do that.
Remember, kids, despite all our rage, we're still just a rat in a cage. That's right, Billy Corgan. This one goes out to you. See, I'll go eat your goddamn pumpkin pie. Enjoy your turkey and other fattening things. We'll check in with you next week for some more shit that none of you are going to care about, but makes me real angry. Till then, enjoy and happy Turkey Day.